When I started to think about this work, I was thinking about this idea about a group of artists, a very small group of artists that deals with geometry. Is that possible that very small group of artists can represent a vocation for a country like Brazil? You know, Brazil is enormous, very large country. It's a continental. The size it's enormous. The culture here, vary a lot. And when we compare just a small group in Rio, São Paulo, very privileged guys, white guys, middle class, and they represented a vocation for a country like Brazil. And I was thinking as well about the others that are not in this frame, like the black people, black artists, indigenous people, even things like nature, the colors that we have in the country, the light that we have here. It was not considered. And so they became the vocation for a country like Brazil. So I decided to play with this idea of vocation, and then I started making a series that's called the Brazilian Geometry. And before I started this Brazilian geometry, I was working with the idea of a tropical paradise. Of course, we are not a paradise, but we still have the birds, we still have the colors, we still have the sun, the light. So, what we will do with this? This can be an advantage or not. So, I put together my these two series that I worked, so it became is the Brazilian geometry arrives at the tropical paradise because it tells a lot about us. It tells a lot about Brazilian as well. Well, this work is about this kind of investigation, this kind of research and questions about the geometry in Brazil and this international idea of vocation. We ever had black artists in Brazil, ever since the colonial period. But it was not recognized by the mainstream, by the desired environment. So it is one thing that ever existed in the country. This kind of teaching that I used to do in Brazil, that was not formal, that was not in a university, for example. The young artists, when they started their careers, for example, they used to call me, may I talk with you because I have nobody to talk about the subject. I don't have nobody to talk about Brazilian black contemporary artists, and I am young artist. I would like to have a person to talk with. No, so okay, okay, let's talk about artists. And in this way, I happily really orientated some of them, and it was very important because they went to university, but there in the universities they did not find a space to discuss about black artists. The teachers were not prepared to discuss this. We used to have, normally, we still have um, middle class white teachers that did not show interest to black arts. So these young artists don't have to know what to talk about this. So I think that's something that I would like to point out. We don't have this space in Brazil. The first thing that I would like to point out is that I don't consider myself my work feminist, but feminine. It's because we have a very particular environment in Brazil. So, for example, when I was young, when I started to make my artwork, feminism here was something for white woman, middle class woman, and very well educated woman. I am not these things. So, how can I consider myself feminist? We had some writers and thinkers in Brazil that were discussing this, like Leila Gonçalves, Beatriz Nascimento, Sueli Carneiro. But I was a girl from the outside I was not at the center. I was living in the peripheric area in Brazil, in São Paulo, a poor area that has not access to books, for example, to libraries. So these ideas that were discussed about feminism for Black women did not arrive to me. Brazil is a country, is the only country I think that in Latin America that has this rich black population. The other countries, the problems are more related about the indigenous people. And then Brazil is the second largest black population in the world. Only Nigeria has more black people than Brazil. Only Nigeria. So the problems here, they are not. We have some problems that are different from some parts of Latin America, and at the same time, unfortunately, Brazil has not a strong link with Latin America. That's something odd. Maybe because we are the only country that speaks Portuguese. It's funny because when I went to Cuba, for example, I found a link stronger because the black groups that went kidnapped and sent to Cuba were the same that were sent to Brazil. So sometimes it's easier to talk with Cuba than with South America, for example, because we have a common root. Something that I would like to correct. I think I tried to make some alliances with teachers and artists from Argentina, for example, Colombia, Bolivia, trying to make a link because I think that it's our fault, it's a Brazilian fault. Maybe we have to strengthen this link. But I was not worried with this when I started to produce my work because it's so particular. The situation that we blacks we face every day in Brazil is so particular that I was really putting all my attention on this subject.